English 122, Day 23, Proposal Arguments Review, from Writing Arguments, pages 310 to 320. Proposal arguments like the ones we'll be dealing with for your public campaign assignment require a call to action that enjoins the audience to make a decision and then to act on it, to actually do something or act in response to a particular problem, such as the illegal immigration problem in the United States. There are two main types of proposal arguments: practical proposals and policy proposals. The main difference between the two types of proposals is the narrowness versus the breadth of the concern at hand. Practical proposals are narrow, local, and concrete. They focus on the nuts and bolts of getting something done here and now. Practical proposals propose an action to solve some kind of local or immediate problem. In your professional life, these are among the most important duties you may encounter on the job. They are also one of the most powerful ways to identify and solve problems. Policy proposals, on the other hand, are proposal arguments in which the writer offers a broad plan of action to solve some major social, economic, or political problem affecting the common good. These are an excellent way to practice the responsibilities of citizenship, which require the ability to understand complex issues and to weigh positive and negative consequences of policy choices. Whether it's a practical or a policy proposal, proposal arguments typically follow a three-part structure. In proposal arguments, you'll be dealing with first, a description of a particular problem, next, a proposed solution to the problem, and finally, a discussion that justifies the proposed solution in response to the problem. Let's look at this more in depth. Remember that proposals are the highest order claim type that you can deal with in an argument. In this way, proposal arguments are based on the other lower order claim types. In your description of the problem, you want to give the problem precedence through anecdotes and statistics, or otherwise show your readers how the problem affects people or otherwise has high stakes. Gain your readers' attention and their intellectual assent to the depth, range, and potential seriousness of the problem, and thereby motivate them to solve it. In the problem section, you'll want to be developing the problem either in the introduction prior to the presentation of the proposal claim, or in the body of the paper as the first main reason or reasons justifying the proposal claim. Next, you move on to actually proposing the solution. When doing so, be sure to stress the feasibility of your solution, including the costs. State the specifics of your proposal, the actual step-by-step methods of implementing it. This may be instrumental in winning your audience's support, and it must be fully developed in the body of your argument. You want to show how your proposal will solve the problem, either partially or wholly, but you may need to first convince the reader that the problem is solvable, or convince them that the proposal actually has the ability to solve the problem you are addressing. Listen to this point of view closely, and then argue that the problem is at least partially solvable. Be sure to lay out a causal argument showing how one consequence will lead to another until your solution is effected. Finally, provide a justification for the proposed solution. If your audience already acknowledges the seriousness of the problem at hand, then your argument will be successful as long as you can convince the audience that your solution will work and that it won't cost too much. You want to develop persuasive reasons for enacting your proposal and determine who has the power to act on your proposal, and then apply arguments directly to that person or agency's immediate interests. Remember the Toulmin schema as a way to understand the structure of proposal arguments. The Toulmin schema is particularly useful for proposal arguments because it is the highest order claim type. In a proposal argument, you make the argument, we should do this action because it addresses a serious problem. This is an enthymeme in which we should do this action is the claim, and the reason it is attached to is because it addresses a serious problem. There's an underlying assumption here that there is a relationship between the solution and the problem. Let's look at that structure again. You have your claim, which is the proposed solution itself, attached to a reason, which is related to either the problem or the solution, based on an underlying warrant or assumption, which is that the assumption that the problem and solution are related in some sort of causative way. In this way, the claim is the proposed solution, and the reason is related to either the problem or the solution. The warrant is the assumption that the problem and solution are related in some sort of causative way. Proposal arguments entail certain audience concerns that you wouldn't generally face with other types of arguments. The first of these is presence, which refers to an argument's ability to grip the reader's hearts and imaginations as well as their intellects. You want to give an argument presence through appeals to pathos, including compelling and provocative details, statistics, and examples. Be sure to show the seriousness of the problem or the consequences of not acting. You'll also have to overcome the audience's inherent conservatism. Sometimes the difficulty of proving that something needs fixing is compounded by the fact that frequently the status quo appears to be working. It's oftentimes very difficult to overcome the status quo, even if there are acceptable and compelling reasons to do so. Also consider the law of unintended consequences, which argues that few major decisions lead neatly to their anticipated results without surprises along the way. Finally, be sure to evaluate the consequences of your proposal. Weigh the results according to the audience's values. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis if necessary. One approach to developing proposal arguments is to link different claim types to develop the proposal claim. Link these claims to the value system of your audience by coming up with audience-based reasons from the lower order claim types. You might come up with a reason based on a claim of definition or principle or category in which you show how your proposed action follows a principle valued by your audience or belongs to the category valued by your audience. You might come up with an argument based in consequence, which shows how your proposed action will cause consequences valued by your audience. Or you might come up with a resemblance argument to show how your proposed action has been done successfully elsewhere or is like another action valued by your audience. Remember, these lower order claim types will help you develop your proposal with audience-based reasons. Finally, ask yourself a few questions as you develop your proposal. First of all, is there really a problem that needs to be solved? Secondly, will the proposed solution really solve the problem? Can the problem be solved more simply without disturbing the status quo? Is the proposed solution really practical? Does it stand a chance of actually being enacted? And what will be the unforeseen causes of the proposal? Follow these strategies and you'll be sure to develop an effective proposal argument.